Mine's not doing the timer.
It's 100% doing the timer.
Oh, well, hello, and welcome back to the Business And Banter Podcast, where we talk a lot about business, a little bit of banter, maybe some BS, but most importantly, we try to add some value to your day. Apparently, I was counted into this by the program, but I didn't see it happening, so I don't know. We're just going to go with it. My name is Honey. I'm a car part reseller from Scotland, and with me is my podcast co-host, Sam, clothing seller from Australia.
Thank you for joining us, and anything that you hear in this is not financial advice and should just be taken as how we run our businesses.
I wouldn't take any advice from Sam because, for those of you who don't know, Sam's given her entire community COVID, caused a state of emergency. They've all gone back into lockdown. She now has COVID and curfews.
The curfew lockdown is not related to my COVID that I brought from interstate. I just happened to give it to my op shop thrift stores, but the curfew is due to unruly behaviour, and we came out of it yesterday, so it's unrelated.
Imagine going on a sourcing trip to get better sourcing and then coming back and giving one of your only sources in town COVID and shutting them down.
As you said, I subconsciously self-sabotage.
It's music to my ears, Sam. It's music to my ears. I love hearing it. Last week we did our little conspiracy podcast. Pity and O'Neill was on the case. I've actually really loved. Everyone's been messaging me some more conspiracy theories. Crazy stuff. I love it. So we're going to do a part 2 in the future. But today we want to do the dark side of eBay. Because we love eBay. I love eBay. You love eBay. eBay's great. Right? But when it's not, it's not.
When it's bad, it's bad.
And I think there's also has to be, like, it either leads one way or another. I either see, like, videos about, like, eBay's the worst, it's dying, it's shutting down. Or we see videos of, like, eBay's the best, I made $10 million, or whatever the case is. And I think there's a lack of balance where we need to understand that every business, every normal business is going to have ups and downs. And we need to be able to celebrate the good and deal with the bad, sometimes even in the same day.
Straight off the bat, I'd like to say that I find it so much easier to work and get those listings up when the cash register sound is like chinging in my pocket. And when sales are down, it's hard to get that motivation behind you. It's like, why am I doing this? But you have to remember to build for the future, not today.
That's crazy because that little cha-ching has become like my happiness trigger.
Totally is dopamine here every time.
That's bad, isn't it? Like, how intense are we that can trigger like that much stress? And I've been selling on eBay for like 3-4 years and it still does. Like, I've never thought to myself, oh, stop doing that noise, ever.
Why would you? That's the best sound.
So I've been trolling the old Instagram and the YouTube, and also just some that I really struggle with, like things that I struggle with on eBay and that really frustrates me. So we're just going to run through some of them. Sam has some as well. But the first one, I think that's one of the most common things, and one of the things that people are offended by the most is lowball offers.
I used to take them as a personal attack.
Did you? Why is it personal?
I don't know. I'd be like, damn you resellers or something to that nature.
I don't understand. Like, to me, it's never been personal. It's been more like, you can't have that. I'm not going to let you in. That's too good of a price. Who are you to get that good of a price? But I've never felt there was like a personal attack. But I think being around other successful resellers has made me realize that every offer is an opportunity to take someone's money.
Oh, absolutely. And it's also just helpful for the algorithm. It shows that there's something about that item that the person likes, which means it will probably rank higher in future searches.
But also, how many people get a lowball offer and then just decline?
Yeah, that's true. I don't do that. I always make a conscious effort to do a counter offer.
I have declined an offer twice in my life.
Oof.
One was yesterday. I had an item. Wait, this is going to lead into the next one.
Oh, sure.
But what I wanted to say is lowball offers. You get an offer, just keep countering with what you will accept. You don't need to put a little message in to prove a point. You don't have to explain your business to anyone. Just counter with what you'll accept, and that'd be the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, we need to take the emotions out of it. And yesterday, I didn't do that. I had a buyer who bought something, didn't pay. Eventually, after 4 days, I cancelled the sale. The audacity of this man to send me an offer the minute it's relisted.
Yeah.
And I was like, And then I should have just blocked him and move on, but did I? No, I did not. I countered full price with a message like, full price because you don't pay. And then he came back with another offer, and I counted again. I was like, full price because you don't pay. And then he counted again. He's like, please, just £2 off. And I was like, full price, and then you don't pay. And then I retracted the offer and blocked him. So he couldn't even accept it. That's how petty I was.
I feel like he might have felt that was a personal attack.
But I didn't want him to buy the item on offer because he wasn't going to pay. I already know this. He's already done it. So honestly, that was just to entertain myself a bit, and that's bad. That's very bad. We shouldn't have it be like that.
Such a professional, don't you?
I know. I was going to come on here and tell you guys that you lowball offers an opportunity to take people's money, and here's me yesterday. Like, I was just, no, I did. Technically, I didn't decline. I retracted.
Fair. Yep.
I feel like that. But I also feel, and I know from experience, that declining offers has a bad effect on your traffic, because eBay wants negotiation at the very least. If you're not going to accept the offer, they want negotiation. They want to know you as a seller are open to negotiating. Sellers who constantly just decline and don't counter, why would eBay keep sending you offers if you're not willing to negotiate?
It's also the culture of the platform, because back when it first started, it was only auctions, so people could negotiate with the price in terms of making bids until it went up. So I feel like that root amount of people that originally started using the platform carries that over even into the best offer feature. Why
do you say auctions like a posh pommy?
Because unlike you, who's like, ha, I've got some elegance behind me.
That's hilarious. So I think what we're trying to say is, unfortunately, the problem with offers is because you can also on eBay set offer limits. So be like, eBay won't send you offers if it's below a certain amount, and eBay will automatically accept offers if it's above a certain amount. The issue I have with that is that if the offer is below a certain amount, eBay automatically sends a decline, and I'm trying to avoid declining offers. I also don't trust eBay to automate anything.
Yeah, neither do I.
No. I want to do everything manually. I don't trust them.
I think we should also just be really grateful in a way that people are coming onto our listings and they are providing that extra traffic and bump in the algorithm. And when you change it from the personal attack, like in my previous life, to being grateful and about the fact that it can actually rank up your listing, then it kind of hits a little bit more differently as well.
Yes. Viewer definitely changed the mindset to see it as a positive. At the very least, it's stimulating traffic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Second one I've got is non-payers.
Oh, yeah. I did just touch on that one. I had that too.
And so eBay has come out with a new system that they're gradually rolling out, where if someone sends you an offer, because I have immediate payment on my buy it now. If you want to buy it now, full price, it's immediate payment. I have on offers, obviously that doesn't apply. So all of my non-payers come from offers I've sent to offers that's been accepted. And eBay has actually rolled out, they're busy rolling out a feature where if someone makes an offer, the item will still be up for sale until they pay. So you can have multiple pending accepted offers on an item. It's still on eBay for sale, and whoever pays first will get the item.
Yeah, they've stolen that from Depop. But I will say that in Australia, we do have the ability to put automatic payment required on best offer. But you actually have to accept it. You have to toggle it on in your settings. And it doesn't apply, I believe, for seller sent offers. I think it's only offers sent to you.
So the issue I have, because we can do that too, is it's asking the buyer to add a payment method before they send the offer,
Yes.
and that's putting a lot of people off.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the fear is, and I'll tell you what the fear is, and I've spoken to people about this, is if they send an offer, they have to put their bank details in and say accept.
Yeah.
The fear is, and it's not made clear, if whether the seller counters your offer, if that's automatically paid for.
Good point. Yeah.
And that's the fear. People aren't understanding that it's only if that specific offer gets accepted. So they're very hesitant because they're thinking like, I sent an offer 40 quid. What if the seller comes back at 55 and now they're just going to take payment?
That's a really good point. I don't have it on personally because I have a lot of bundles. So if someone sends me, say, 30 offers on 30 different items, I don't want them to be charged $9.25 every time for postage as well. So when it first rolled out, I was automatically toggled into it. And I had someone who they sent me 5 offers and they were charged postage 5 times and they were the most unhappy buyer. So at that exact moment, I turned it off.
And so I have my multi-buy stuff set up. I do free postage, so I don't have the postage issue. But I do offer bundle discounts.
Yeah.
And I actually have that set up in my promotions, like my store-wide multi-buy campaign, where store-wide, regardless of what items you bundle together, it's tiers. If you buy 2, you get X off. If you buy 3, you get X off, which has worked really well. And I actually checked before the call. I've made an extra £9,000 of sales.
Oh, wow.
Through that promotion. So it's been running for like 8-9 months. So, but an extra £1,000 a month come from my multi-buy promotion. Now you can't tell if people were gonna buy 2 anyway.
Yeah.
Or if that enticed them to, but like I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge increase in sales.
Yeah.
It is helpful to have those extra things running on the background of your store to be able to encourage people to buy.
Yeah. I struggle. The thing is, there's some times where I have up to 17, 18 items awaiting payment.
Yeah.
And my issue with that is those items, up until eBay rolls out the new feature on all accounts, is now guaranteed not to sell for those 4 days.
Yeah.
And that's really frustrating for sellers because we could have an item that's very in demand. You accept an offer on it and it sits there for 4 days. I've also, funny enough, found rare items I've posted that's awaiting payment. Then you go search eBay for it and someone's taken my listing and my photos, posted it on their own store for more money. So they're waiting to get paid more to pay for mine and then they're going to get me to ship it out.
Yeah. I've had that happen one time. I didn't know it was a thing.
It is a thing apparently, but I don't think it happens a lot. I've only seen it happen with one thing. I'm not actively searching for each of them, but that is also definitely a thing. And I know in the collectors category that happens quite a lot.
Yeah, it happened when I was not in clothing, but when I was an everything seller. Yeah. I do think that there's, I guess, in my mind, no real way to overcome that until they do adopt the Depop. When it's purchased, it just sits pending. But the issue with that is you kind of lose track of what's what because it doesn't really appear anywhere. It still appears as you're like in the active listings. So I wouldn't even know at that point how many I have pending payment. And what if people want to bundle onto an invoice or something like that? Like, I'm not quite sure how that actually will play out.
Yeah. I think it's one of these things that eBay's working on. And I know we're frustrated they don't work as quick as we need them to, but I'm excited to see what they do with that. And I also know there will be some problems and glitches, but I feel like at least they heard the issue. You know, we're moving in the right direction.
I would like to, while we're there, segue to another point, because you said that eBay's maybe not working as fast as we want them to, is eBay's site-wide errors that drive us all crazy. And I feel like at the moment there's more of them than I've ever had previously, like the upstream error or the it's not you, it's us, or the homepage just disappears for some apparent reason. So I actually did some digging on this one, and it's actually more about tech as a whole, like the tech space, rather than just eBay directly. So the job vacancy rate in the tech space is extremely high. So I went onto the eBay website. They have over 1,000 job vacancies currently available. And apparently it's because everyone's being headhunted from Web 2 to Web 3, which is the crypto NFT space. So all the really good lead designers, all the really good problem solvers, all the really good project managers are all being poached over there, which is creating a gap in the market, which is why places like Facebook, eBay, Instagram are having all these errors that they've never had before, which is super interesting.
That is interesting. I don't get the eBay errors. I don't know. Maybe I'm just lucky. I keep seeing people posting it. They can't post. They can't list. They can't. That's embarrassing. The page comes up. It never happens to me. Maybe I'm not on eBay enough. Maybe maybe I need to work more. I don't know, but it doesn't happen to me. I don't know, but that does make a lot of sense what you said, because my Facebook is constantly glitching. And yes, I'm that old that I use Facebook a lot. And like, that's fine. That's what I do. And like, occasionally WhatsApp will just stop working. And then Instagram won't load new things. And I hear a lot how like in the UK, they complain that like Vinted gone down for the day, or this app isn't working. So that makes a lot of sense. So the more we lean on technology, the more these things are going to start affecting our life. But I agree with you that I don't think it's just an eBay issue. Is it bad for business? Yes. And I do know that in the Bold Clobber podcast with James and Luke, they were saying that we're all going to the eBay Open, and that this is a question they want to ask eBay. Like, we lose sales during those periods. Is there compensation for it? Is there discount on store fees for it? Like, but I think at the end of the day, the simple answer might just be that it's just part and parcel of relying on technology.
Yeah, especially when there's two different kind of types of internet and web design kind of building out at one time. And if you think about it, the people that were innovators in the space, if they want to keep innovating, they're going to move to different projects which are outside of this version of the internet that we're currently using into the blockchain sort of tokenized economy space. But in terms of compensation from eBay, when the managed payments rolled out in Australia, they didn't like my last name because it has an apostrophe in it. So there's also an issue where my driver's license has the apostrophe and my passport doesn't. So I'm technically two different people, and you require two forms of identification. So I couldn't actually prove that I was the person. So they were not giving me payouts for weeks. And then, of course, in turn, my sales went down and everything else. And I asked for compensation when it took one guy to just go, yep, you click, and off we went. But there's definitely no compensation available in the event that the platform does something incorrect. It's not happening.
That's hilarious, Sam. Do you want to know what? When managed payments rolled out, they kept my payouts for almost 8 weeks because I was a foreign citizen, not even a citizen, I was a foreigner. And the issue we were having is that when I was 18, I took my stepfather's surname.
Mm-hmm.
So they ask you for your birth certificate for some reason.
Yeah.
Right. But I hadn't had, so it's different than my passport, and then I've got a driver's license, and I had the exact same issue. And even though I had letters to prove all of this, and for almost 8 weeks, they kept my money. It was like distressing.
It was hard.
But I also got nothing from them. So like, but I will say that there was times when they were, all our items disappeared for a couple of hours one day. It showed 0 active listings. eBay couldn't, and eBay did actually give me a percentage of my shop fee back.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Yeah. So I do I don't hold your breath. Like, I think it was like 15 quid. Let's not it wasn't worth the amount of effort I put into the drama I created. I'll tell you that much. I could have gone to my husband and just asked for 15 quid and he would have given it to me. So like, it wasn't worth it. But there has, and I know some other people who's gotten their shop feedback as well. So I think sometimes if you kick up enough of a stink, they like, that's fine. Just go away.
I would like to say that you probably spent like an hour on the phone to get that 15 quid. And if you just put up like however many listings in that hour, you would have generated more money.
Yes, thanks, Sam.
You're welcome. That's super helpful.
I agree. I'm very interested to see what they say at the Open about it, because it's very bad in the UK now. It's constant. Every single day people are experiencing this, and it's frustrating to your business.
Yeah. Yeah, I experience it near on every day at the moment as well. And I would suggest it's because of the winter seller update, which I'm sure you have the summer seller
Yeah.
update, is being installed. And if you have a reduced staffing profile, like obviously they do, they have over 1,000 job vacancies, and you don't have your key leads because they were headhunted by other companies, then it's gonna have more errors. And I don't know if there's any easy way that they can overcome that apart from headhunting people back, but they're not going to have enough money to be able to generate the increased cost for that position as well. So it's like they're kind of damned if they do and they're damned if they don't.
Yeah. I also think eBay is a bit of an aging site. Remember, eBay
Well,
was
yeah.
built in the 90s. Like, it's not, there's only to a certain point where you can update the site before it needs to be completely, like, reworked. And I think it's not going to be long off from where eBay's going to need to do that.
Yeah.
Another frustrating thing for our UK sellers is cancellation requests. So someone will buy something and then immediately ask to cancel. And so the common agreement in the UK is no, we will not cancel. You will wait 4 days and get a strike because how dare you ask to cancel?
But if you don't, so are they declining the cancellation? Because here we can only, if we decline it, we have to provide a tracking number like it's been shipped.
So that only works in the first hour.
Okay, right, yeah.
So if they're asked to cancel after that, they can just message you. And then people's like, no, I won't cancel it. I refuse. And some people, if it's been paid for, they'll actually post it out, which I don't understand because that's a guaranteed return. And
Absolutely.
then also, if you just say no, I won't cancel, the item goes unpaid if they haven't paid for 4 days. And all you've really done is make sure your item can't sell for 4 days. So like I don't personally understand the issue of cancellation requests. If someone messages me and says, oops, can I cancel? No worries. Cancel and move on with my life.
I had one the other day, and the woman said that she dropped her phone, and in the process of trying to catch it, she accidentally hit accept instead of decline. Like, I've done stuff like that before. I've pocket dialed people. Like, it does happen. If you never pocket dialed someone,
there's too many autistic kids though pressing the bid now button on eBay.
Apparently. Yeah. I have had that one.
I don't understand why you would prolong the inconvenience. Like, and then they say it's because they want the buyers to get a strike so they can't keep doing this to other people. Like, does it really matter? Are you really making that much of an impact? Just cancel the thing, relist the item, and move on with your life.
I would like to bring two things into the discussion. One, if you just cancel it and move on, at least they told you rather than it just sitting there for 4 days. Like, I appreciate the fact that people just tell me. But circling back to the autistic kid thing, so there's a guy in the Aussie community, Jutta, or Diary of a Flipper, and he had a woman message and say it was for her autistic son and totally lowballed him. And he was like, you know what, I'll just accept it and do my good deed. And she actually sent him a photo of the autistic kid with the toy. And he was like, oh, wow, it wasn't a scam for a lowball. And he refunded her entirely and was like, just have the product for free. Because he's a super nice guy. But there is actually that built into the like, we can't assume everyone is lying.
That's true. We can't assume everyone is lying. And I think that's a seller problem more than, and yes, there are people who lie. This is normal in all aspects of life. But we can't already treat customers with that preconception that they're all liars. The thing is, if I sell 10 items and I have one problem customer, I'm now going to treat every future customer like they're the one bad customer. Or do you treat every future customer like the 9 good ones you have?
Yeah, it's just for some reason we neglect the fact that out of my 3,000 sales, that there was 6 INADs that annoyed me because 3 of them were false. Like, we forget about the other 2,997 successful transactions that people didn't lie about.
So let's go into returns and INADs now, because that is a hard one to swallow on eBay. That, like,
I'm okay if it's my fault.
Yeah, I'm okay if it's like, let's do returns in general first. Returns seem to infuriate people. Like, it seems to invoke the type of anger that should only be for really serious life issues. But we seem to get very angry over returns. And so the first thing I want people to realize is that returns is not in the UK. Returns is not an eBay thing. Returns is a UK consumer law thing.
Same here.
Okay, so like, and then they go, yeah, but on Vinted we don't have to do returns. Well, that's because you're not supposed to be selling on Vinted as a business, and there's different return laws for private transactions. They also on Vinted, if it's not as described, you can return it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's only buyer's remorse that you can't return. Vinted will actually review an INAD request on the platform, and you'll be able to return it. But returns are not an eBay thing. They're a UK consumer law thing. Buyers have a right to return an item they bought from a business for any reason, okay? And the return period has to be a minimum of 14 days.
Yeah. And if you don't allow them, they have every right to do a credit card chargeback.
Correct. Because it's their right. So I think we just need to shift that mentality of like eBay as a bad attempt to that's the law, right?
Yeah.
eBay's playing in the law. What I do hate about eBay, and I'm going to be very honest about this, is eBay's system is set up to punish sellers.
Yeah, you mentioned this last week.
And I genuinely believe that. I believe that the way the system is built, it's built more for punishment and control than it is for encouragement. So, for instance, on my service metrics, I was about to be very high on my service metrics and get charged extra for my INADs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Half of them are false. Okay, the problem is eBay doesn't take that into account. It's basically the return was opened and that's it. They decide you get a strike, regardless. And that's what bothers me. It's fair enough to say you did something wrong, but give me the opportunity to talk about, to like get that reviewed. And so I did appeal some of them through the returns process, and eBay have removed some of them to the point where I'm now back to normal. But what frustrates me is that right off the bat, you get a strike.
Yeah. And you have to hope that the timing of the appeal coming through is before the next review date on the 21st, because even after the review date, like once that's set in stone and they then an appeal is approved, it only comes off the next month's review, like the one that's in the future. It doesn't come off the current one. But if you receive another defect for an item within that window, even though that one is, say, 7, like mine currently is, it'll go up to 8. It doesn't matter. But if they remove one off the next one, it doesn't go down to 6. So you have to really hope that you get the reviews in before that time period. And I will say that most of the stuff I hear in the community about INADs is because of the inability to know how to appeal them. But in the policies, there's actually a step-by-step instructional on how to do that. And once you get your head around how to do it, it's really easy. And I have 13 currently on the report, but only 7 of them count towards my score because the rest has been removed because I won the appeals.
What frustrates me about it is eBay, in an attempt to what I can only think is to save employment costs, has transferred the whole system to AI, and we're just deciding once the return is open, that's it. I know, defect. Should they not have the return process returned, and then we can send in information and then have it reviewed, and then you can decide whether this is a defect or not? But they don't. The same with the item not received cases. People are opening item not received cases. It's been delivered with tracking, but yet you still have a defect because someone opened a case.
And you still have to appeal it to get the defect
Why
removed.
though? This is what frustrates me so much. Is eBay's just decided because the case is open, you get a defect. That is one of the most unfair systems on eBay. And I don't think eBay is that unfair at all. But this service metrics is the one part of eBay that I find extremely unfair.
So the thing I really don't like about it is that in order to have a guaranteed feedback removal, you have to get the return case open so that then it auto drops off on the system as per the policy. So you're in a position where you're forced to take the hit, even though it may not be a true INAD or a true item not received case. But in order to then get that negative feedback guaranteed to be removed, you have to have the case open. That's not fair.
We don't even have that in the UK. We have 0 guaranteed feedback removal policies. 0. So even if you get the return, 0. So even if you get the return back, it's false. Even then, if you process to give them a full refund, they still won't remove them. The only time you get guaranteed feedback removal is if you deduct a percentage of the return because the item was returned with missing pieces, damaged, or used.
That's rough. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's it. We don't get any, and because of the new eBay feedback system, which let's just roll on to the next thing, negative feedbacks, right? Because of the new negative feedback removal policy that's all done by AI, zero negative. I have a negative feedback because eBay disconnected from the postage system and couldn't give live tracking updates. And the negative feedback says no tracking provided. But there is a tracking number. It just wasn't updating on eBay. If you go onto the carrier site, it updated. And I got negative feedback for that. And eBay said it's buyer's opinion. And I said, yes, it's their opinion that your site was broken. Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
So in our seller protection policy, it says as long as the shipping has been completed by, or it's been shipped with a authorized service provider, I think is the words, that there's guaranteed removal of any sort of negative feedback associated with that, as long as there's a partnered postal company. You guys get it rough.
Nothing. We get zero. Nothing. Like,
wow.
They've now completely changed it to where you can't get feedback removed almost at all. You just have to take that.
You know how they want you to fill in that feedback request removal thing in the policy section? So I have previously used that, and I have one sitting in there, and it's been sitting in there for like 9-12 months, and there was an error with it. So whenever I jump onto the chat, I'm like, oh, it doesn't work for me. You can see in there that there's one that it just doesn't work. The system won't accept it. So I then always get a manual review, and they do tend to remove it.
That's just mean.
I know. I'm very lucky.
What I want to say, right, is feedback is important. Yeah. But even with how many negatives do I have? Oh, I have the one guy who bought 6 items in a bundle off me. He said one of them didn't arrive. I had tracking to show it did. And then he left me 6 negative feedbacks.
That's brutal.
eBay apparently reported him for feedback abuse, but nothing happened and they refused to remove it. So I'm stuck with these 6 negatives from the same person, same transaction. They won't do nothing about it. So even with I think I have 11. I think so. Even with my 11 negatives, I'm still at 99.6%, right?
Yeah.
I respond to the negatives. I say what I can say. I try not to demean the customer because I think that comes across really bad. So I try to just say what I have to say and I move on with my life.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's the only way you
cannot dwell on this all the time. There is also some customers who you just have to be like, you know what? That's fine. I'm not going to engage with you anymore. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. If you want to leave a negative, then leave a negative. Because some people just want to have that control over you. And that might be a bit deep, but like, I'm not playing that game.
I would also suggest that because they're not removing it for you, they're not removing it for anyone, which would mean that everyone simultaneously will have their feedback percentage go down. So there would be very few people that would have like 100% positive feedback by the end of this policy transition.
Which is exactly why it won't last, because eBay's going to see all their seller feedback go down and they're going to realize it's making their site look terrible, like a bunch of jokers on there, and they're going to stop this policy and revert back to the other one, because it's in eBay's best interest to have great sellers with great reputations.
Absolutely. And if there's nothing, like literally nothing that you can do to get it removed, that's also not fair. Like what incentivizes a seller to remain on the platform when we've got the highest fees, there's all the things that we've already mentioned, and then if someone does leave you the negative feedback and eBay don't care enough to remove it, like you're not incentivized to stay.
Yeah, so I think definitely some of the new changes eBay has brought in, as eBay very often does, most of this will get backtracked a lot. And I think we just have to ride it out till they realize how bad it's doing. And then it'll all go back again. I, like a lot of other UK sellers, woke up one morning, a week and a half ago, and some of our negatives had disappeared.
Yeah,
So
okay,
I
that's
think eBay's
interesting.
already realizing that they've
Mm,
made an error somewhere and that things aren't working the way it should be working.
that's really interesting that they would walk that back. Was there any email or anything about that?
Nope.
Wow.
I woke up one morning, saw a bunch of people posting in a UK reseller page. Did anyone else wake up with negative score? Did anyone else? And I was like, that's weird. And I went and checked, and I had 3 removed.
That's so crazy.
And
I've
it's funny that it all
honestly,
happened on the same day because do you know what
yeah.
I think happened? I think eBay realized the little AI model isn't working and is being unfair. And I think they've started manually reviewing the ones that had already been processed.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you say that because I was speaking to a friend about the job vacancies thing, and his suggestion was to cover some of the short-term issues with the job vacancies. They could use, like companies could use AI as a bit of a patch for that. But I don't think, in my humble opinion, that AI is at the point where it can replace human discretion.
No, it definitely cannot.
Because there's not a one size fits all for anything.
It's not.
No,
Yeah.
unfortunately. If there was, life would be way easier, but we're all different and situations occur differently.
So another thing that enrages us. Well, not us, sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine this. You're just scrolling on eBay, trying to comp something. Maybe you're just looking up something else, and boom, there's your listing. And you're like, that's weird. I didn't price it like that. And it turns out it's not your listing. Someone's taken all your photos and your titles and your descriptions, and they've just copy and pasted your listing.
I've never had that. But did you say that your photos are so good that eBay's putting them as the catalog photo?
Yeah, so if you search certain car parts, then you can actually copy my listing in their catalog.
That's crazy.
And
See,
guess
and
what? I don't have a wide background, so I'm just saying.
but I guess for you that would be a reason why, because I've never had that. There's lots of people that look similar, but that's because we all use the tech and sports model.
No, this is a real thing. It's happening, and people get enraged by it. And they report. I actually, didn't someone take it a step further and actually use Mel's face in a listing?
Oh, I haven't heard that one, but
Oh
maybe.
yeah, Mel came on the one day, and she's like, she found the listing. I can't remember what it was for, but it actually had her face on it from her YouTube channel. And she's reported it so many times, and eBay won't take it down. Because what we have to realize is as soon as we put the pictures and the wording on the internet and on eBay, it no longer belongs to us. People can
Yeah, it
do
does
with
say
it
that.
what they like. So, as much as that's a scummy thing to do, the truth is your listings and your pictures are no longer your own.
Yeah, absolutely. It is actually in the terms and conditions that as soon as
It
you
is.
upload them, yeah, it's no longer your property. So if people model clothes, and the risk is then that people can take it. Just from like an operational point of view, I feel like, because I don't think you can do right click save as for the photos, you actually
No.
have to sit there and screenshot them on your phone and then like crop them. I feel like that would take more time than actually just taking the photo itself.
You can download them, save as.
I've never tried. There you go.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Let's have a look. We can both try at the same time, live on air.
I'm not going to try because I'm on my laptop and I don't have the mouse thing. And I, as a protest to technology, refuse to use this stupid little pad thingy they want us to use on our fingers. And I know it makes no difference at all to the world, but I will stand on this to the grave.
Of course you will, Emily. So you can right click save. Just to
There you go.
confirm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm also on the laptop, but I can use the little mouse pad thing.
Right. So, do you
It's a
have any
skill.
more or do I keep rolling?
I've got one.
Okay, good.
So it's a little bit outside of our control, like everything else. So it's when we have items that we list and we have done the research and we can confirm that it will have a guaranteed sell-through rate of 90 days, and we list it and it doesn't sell in 90 days. And a lot of people then wonder and question why it should have had that. It's guaranteed 90 days, but nothing in life is guaranteed. Unfortunately, you may have just been not at the top of the search rank whenever a guaranteed buyer came through during those 90 days.
Everything has an anomaly, though.
Yeah.
even the most accurate statistics always can have an anomaly. I feel like we need to understand that statistics and sell-through rates and all these numbers that we've learned to use so well in the Reseller Greatness Group is not 100% accurate. And that doesn't mean that eBay is hiding your listings, or eBay's mad at you, or eBay doesn't want you to make money. eBay only makes money when you make money. This is a fact. Unless you're on that weird pay-per-click thing. Ooh. Anyway.
I would like to add that I think that where we get caught up in the need for that to sell in 90 days is because we maybe run our business with a very short margin within that. Yeah. So I personally feel like we need more of a pad for a margin of error. And within that we need to have a little bit of liquid cash behind us. We cannot wait and need that sale within the 90-day period to pay our bills. Like, we have to be able to pay our bills without that guaranteed sale, because nothing is guaranteed.
100%.
Yeah.
And you also can't build your business off of the outliers either. So you can't go like, I'm gonna rely on this banging item I felt to sell to pay my bills. You need to be able to pay your bills with the bread and butter, and you need to budget on the bread and butter. And I think a big reason why people get caught up in cash flow issues is because they have so much invested in one item, and so much of their margin is in one item, that when you get a cancellation request, it's infuriating. When you get a return, it's infuriating, because that's the difference between being profitable and not.
I know that when I was not profitable, everything like that hurt so much more. And just now, I've obviously, within the last 12 days of the new financial year, I've been listing more items, but my sales went down. And it is just the time of the year. It happens every year because it's tax return season. People are waiting for the tax returns, lots of window shopping. But if I didn't have the cash flow to pad that and have that margin of potential risk, like, I like to have a good chunk of liquidity behind me when I make these decisions, I would be in all sorts of trouble.
And so this is something I get asked a lot. I'm on weekly payouts. The number one reason for that is because it's easier to manage my money once a week than it is every day. So I have pots set up where my money goes. Second reason for that is returns don't bother me because I haven't had the money. And yes, it's not that week's money, but I make sure all my returns are refunded and processed on a Monday before I get paid on the Tuesday, because if I don't have the money, it doesn't bother me. It genuinely doesn't hurt as much as being on daily payouts, getting a big return, and the next day you get zero. That sucks. Mentally, financially, that sucks. Seeing a low payout sucks. Having a weekly payout, it's not my money yet, technically, so it doesn't bother me. I process all my returns, it's so much easier for me to just move on from it.
That's a really interesting way of doing it. I know in the initial stages, when you are first on the platform, you can't actually access your money until the items are scanned as delivered anyway.
Yes.
So in a way, you've just kind of carried that mentality forward.
Yes. But it's so much easier for me, because what would happen is I'd be on daily payouts. I'd get 3 returns delivered on the same day. My payout for the next day is 0. And I'm so deflated and I'm so annoyed. And I'm like, returns are the worst. Returns are sinking my business. Returns are but I'm not looking at it in the week or the month. Where when I'm on weekly payouts, I'm going to be very honest with you, it doesn't affect me that much because I haven't actually had the money paid out.
Yeah, that's a really good way of doing it. I like that. I choose to do the daily payouts, but only because if anyone's going to be earning interest off the money, it's going to be me, not eBay.
But I feel like I pay the interest to keep my peace of mind. And that's worth it to me.
That's fair.
For me, the trade-off of not having to, of having the better mentality over it is that until I can learn to not be that person about it and to manage my money on a daily basis better, because I do struggle with money management, then this is the best option for me.
I'm totally going to segue off the current topics into, do you have a budget for your business, out of curiosity?
Yes. And everything is budgeted.
Do you also have a personal budget? Or is this a new concept?
No. So, well, when I say no, I want to say it's just over a year old that I've been doing this, that I now have budgets for everything. So in my business, every week I get paid. X percentage goes into my tax pot, X amount goes into my husband's savings salary pot, X amount goes into my sourcing pot, and the rest is in my account. That's operating costs, right? So my monthly operating cost is calculated on my worst month of sales and my expenses that need paid, right? My salary is then paid at the end of the month off of the operating account.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the only reason why I ask is I've never had a personal budget up until I started having a business budget and realizing how much that really helped my business. I rolled that over into my personal life, and there's been huge growth in both since implementing one. I feel like it's
crazy
just
how as soon as you
No, you go.
It's crazy how as soon as you start budgeting, you realize most of the time you're going to realize you actually have more money than you think you do.
Yes, but also I feel poorer than I ever have.
But it's because all that, you tap your card here for a $5, you take a tenner out here, you don't realize how much that adds up at the end of the month. And then we say, oh, I'm struggling to payday. But when you actually sit down and do the math, you've just casually gone and chucked 300 quid out the window.
Yeah, so I switched to cash for my personal money, and every time like I go into the supermarket and I want snacks, I like look at my wallet and I'm like, if I spend this money, I literally don't have any more for anything better that might have come up than this chocolate bar that I want or whatever it is. So it actually makes me be more cautious about what I'm choosing to spend money on because I visually see it go away.
It's psychological though. Tapping a card, you don't see the money leaving, you don't feel the money leaving. It's almost like it doesn't exist, right? Physical money, you have to physically take it out of your wallet and give it away. So the psychology of physically giving money away is what helps so many people, why so many people do the cash stuffing.
Yeah. I get it now. I've never understood it. Anyway, back onto topics. We should maybe do an episode on that because it's really interesting to me.
Yes.
So another one that I have is that we need to budget for everything that can break will eventually break. So there are sometimes things like the eBay platform will go down, but there are times where you turn on your computer and it no longer works, which is an eBay issue, but it's a you issue because it's preventing you from being able to access the platform. So I like to have redundancies in everything so there's no single point of failure in my business.
I do not. I do not.
So I have lights, I have more carpet, I have an extra computer, like I have all those things built in.
I have 2 laptops and 2 desktops and 2 laptops. So I feel like I'm covered on the computer front.
Yeah. You're fine with that.
I don't think I have anything else. I'd like to brag on there. I should actually.
It happened once where our Starlink has a specific cable that you can't buy anywhere apart from with Starlink, and the cable died, and customer support sent a new one, but it took 2 weeks to arrive, so it was 2 weeks without internet. So I was like, this will never happen again. I have spare cables, I have everything.
That's crazy. We really should have redundancies, and we should have them for everything in life, not just business. The amount of time you save, the amount of mental energy you save when something goes wrong, if you already have a replacement at hand, I think is massive. We don't calculate that in enough, but the amount of time we spend stressing and thinking and problem solving, and if you just had the extra at hand, it would save a lot.
Could you imagine if an airplane didn't have backup engines? Like, you want certain things to have backups. Like,
that escalates quickly. How did we go from a computer dying to instant death?
No, I'm just saying redundancies are very important because planes have fail-safes to fail-safes. Like, they have multiple backups.
They still go down.
Of course they do, but statistically not that often. Anyway, we're going into a morbid place.
Anywho.
How many more you got?
No, I think that's all the ones I had. I think those are the ones that I saw in the community, the ones I struggle with. I think it's very easy to get caught up in the bad. But I think if you're going to be that hard up on the bad and you're going to worry about it for days and days and days, then you need to spend days and days and days being excited about every single successful sale.
Absolutely. We have to focus on the positives, not the negatives, despite the negatives happening less frequently. So therefore, they're the things that we remember more constantly.
Overall, eBay is a great asset to my life.
Yeah, I actually have to agree with that. Like, I give it a hard time, but it's changed my life.
It really has. I'm at the point where, like, I don't know if I spoke about this on the podcast, but we're buying a house because one random Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. we got a knock on the door and we had to sign for a letter, which was a notice to quit, which meant the landlord was telling us we have to leave because he has to sell the house. And we're able to buy the house and get the deposit back get the deposit in very quickly within 2 months because of eBay. Yeah. If I didn't have eBay, I'd be screwed. Because of eBay, we've managed to get thousands of pounds together for a deposit to be in a situation where something like that happens and it's not despair.
Yeah, and what employee could you walk into, employer could you walk into and say, hey, I need several £1,000s over the next 2 months, give me a pay rise of that magnitude? Not going to happen.
Like zero. If I was employed 9 to 5, we would have just had to move. That's the honest truth. Because we don't have that type of money just laying around. I have business savings and stuff which I can tap into, but that's only because of eBay and what my business and what it provides. And I think as much as I get down and out about the bad stuff, how much time do we spend celebrating the good stuff? Because I don't.
I don't, only because I try to delay the gratification until I hit the end goal, but I do a lot better when things are moving in a positive direction than a negative. Yeah. So I like to try and maintain my mind to be in a positive. I will look for positives in any situation.
And I think my math teacher would agree, even though she's blanked me on Messenger.
Did she ghost you? Did she read it and not respond, or did she just not open it?
Well, you can't see if they read it when it's the first message, can you?
I don't know. I don't often
send people. She maybe might just not know how to find her message requests, to be honest with you. I don't know.
You can send your friend's request.
I might have to phone her. That would be awkward, no?
I think that it should be recorded on the podcast if you do.
That would be hilarious.
It actually would be.
I think
I would really like that.
I think eBay should be, for all the bad, there's so much more good. And the goal in life should be to work on our own perception rather than always trying to change everything to fit our own narrative. Like, I need to change my perception on certain things on eBay. Rather than just constantly saying eBay has to change this and eBay has to change that and eBay. And yes, there are some things eBay needs to change, but also if I just change my perception over some of these things, I'd be much better off.
I agree with that with every facet of life. Like, I've been through stages where I think everything is black and gloomy and dark and hard and awful. And if I wake up and go, today's going to be a bad day, it's going to be a bad day because I will search for things to make it a bad day. Like, it's a psychology thing. And it's really easy to fall into that trait and that habit, but it's also really easy to wake up and go, okay, today's going to be a good day, we're going to make it a good day, and actively put that spring in your step to go chase down things that will make it a good day.
And I want to challenge people to do that with eBay, is look at every interaction on eBay as, this is good, this is helping my life, this is pushing me forward, this is increasing my finances, this is making things better. And yes, sometimes you get a cancellation request, but guess what? It's better than a return.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So we just got to put it into the right perspective. And I think on that light-hearted note, Sam has apparently prepared an outro for us.
I have, but the trapeze people didn't arrive and the monkey didn't come. So we're going to try this. Thank you for joining us. you're not
I don't know what's
please
happening.
turn around and comment on this space. It's equally as I was mentioning. And if you please like, comment, subscribe, it is greatly appreciated, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.